So after talking about the knots of illusion, we're going to talk about that which unties these knots. So we are going to talk about some divine qualities which are important for you to establish yourself in, and that will start a transformational process in the recognized, established characteristics investments. So the first of these divine qualities is fearlessness. So fearlessness is one of the starting point even of this journey, of this quest. And fearless even in the midst of difficulties, or especially in the midst of difficulties, of sorrows, when it is most needed. So facing fears, like I've been explaining, it's a very important part of this process. So developing fearlessness is crucial to embrace the challenges that come, that offer you the possibility to rise above your limitations and to be able to follow the spiritual path. So it's unavoidable to feel fear, but when you embrace the right values and have the right motivations, then this shall bring you the needed courage to overcome these fears and eventually become fearlessness. So the next one is purity of mind. Purity of mind is very important. You should not let your mind be filled with negativities, with many kinds of thoughts, judgments, angers, negativities of all sorts. So keeping your mind pure, and by that means holding on to constantly to the divine, to a mantra. This leads to purity of mind, and not letting it be tainted by what I've talked about previously. Keep it clean from this. And for this, of course, it is important to have discriminatory knowledge. The knowledge that allows you to understand clearly what works in favor of your liberation and what works against your liberation. So indulging goes against your liberation because it feeds the body-mind consciousness and affirms its reality. Refraining from indulging gives you the possibility to tune more time with the divine. So having the discriminatory knowledge to make the best decisions is very important. Another aspect is sacrifices, doing sacrifices, rituals or whatever, with the idea of getting something back. So whatever worship you are doing, whatever spiritual practices you are doing, whatever seva you are doing, free yourself from the need to receive fruits out of it. Another important aspect, study of scriptures. This is very important. Modern teachings, they have been permeated by this need to please seekers and many other things. So the teachings got a little bit lost, and a scripture brings you more directly to that clean teaching. More so, it also, through the scripture is a holy text. It means it has a divine vibration, a divine consciousness, a divine existence. And as you are reading through scriptures, especially after meditation, you're able to become more tuned. Then you can tune in with that divine aspect of the scripture and with the pure teaching. The next one should be appreciation of penance and meditation. Well, sometimes meditation can be penance, but there are other practices that help you, like fasting, ice baths, and so on and so on. These are very good to train the mind to rise above body consciousness, to purify the mind. This guarantees that you find the life of the spiritual process and that you move higher and higher in consciousness. So it's very important to maintain meditation and penance, tap. Another aspect which is also very important is non-violence, abstaining from violence. This will release you from cycles of anger, pride, and so on, what we talked previously. So having this as a practice is very important. As you see that you're going to indulge in some kind of violence, stop it. Either physical, mental, any kind of violence. Abstain from it. Another one factor is speaking the truth. Speaking the truth will empower you. So speaking the truth is something very difficult, very challenging, because it reveals your fragilities and it exposes them. It doesn't allow you to avoid conflicts. It doesn't allow you to find an easy path, but it's the straight path. It will help you to empower yourself, to find strength where you didn't know you had, and you will need this strength to move on. And this will align a lot of things in your path. Controlling your temper, not getting angry. This is also very important. These outward bursts of expression, they need to be contained, so that you can deal with what is at the core of these needs. So this is very important. Talking about control, controlling these outward expressions of the senses. So you may have desires, you may have all these things, but you need to control them. To control your speech is very important. Even the practice of silence is utmost important. You should control your tongue, not only what you speak, or especially what you speak, but also what you eat. Stimulating the senses too much will leave you fragile, dependent. So controlling all the expression of the outward senses is very important. And in this speaking sense, talking bad about others in their back, you should abstain from this also. These are all like human faculties, human compulsions. It's what makes part of this normal human interaction. And this feeds a lot of things. So you need to abstain from this. Compassion is also very important because, like I've explained previously, so compassion is not, it's more for the one who exercises compassion than for the one who receives it. Because you're getting the opportunity to shift the flow towards the other, the exercise of love, the possibility to create empathy, and by exercising compassion, you will also abstain from aggression, from anger, from a lot of these things. Desires. Desires is something that you should learn, you should work to be free from. But you can start in the beginning by abstaining from desires for that which is inappropriate, which is not in line with your spiritual growth. Desire for liberation, it's healthy, so don't worry about that now. All other desires that work against your liberation, that work against your spiritual discipline, you should abstain from. And discipline falls into the category of meditation. There's no meditation without discipline. But discipline has a very broader sense, and it comes in all these, applying all these that I'm talking about, these qualities, or that which underlies these qualities. So to put this in place, discipline is needed for sure. To be gentle is also very important for you to practice that, because it will help you in the compassion, in the anger. So always trying to be gentle and to conciliate this with truth, that is a big challenge. That is an enormous challenge. But understand that it doesn't mean that others will take it as being gentle or as being kind or as being compassionate. It means that you're trying to your level best to do so, because what others will interpret, that's a whole different ball game. So it is your intentions that count the most. And when these things are setting in place, you will feel a sense of embarrassment by doing something you know it's not right. So this is kind of the fruit of trying to bring all these divine aspects, divine qualities into your life. You become more aware of what's right and what's wrong. You'll become more aware of the consequences of everything that you're doing. So feeling embarrassed when you're doing something you know it's not right is a sign of increased awareness. Another thing is patience. Learn to be patient, to wait for things. This is very important, even to master this Rajasic tendency of doing things in explosive way. So practice patience and the capacity to endure. This is also very, very important. So steadfastness also very important, to learn to keep it steady, not just investing one time, then forgetting about it, then coming back to your practice, then forget about it. Just keep it intense and keep it steady. removing pride out of the equation. That is very important also. Not harming others. I think it's more or less covered. At this moment, this is plenty, is more than enough to counter all the knots of illusion that we have talked to. And by trying to bring these qualities into yourself, you will create certain circumstances where transformation is possible.